Thank you.
Matt's gonna make it.
Say what?
Matt might not make it. There it is.
Vacation.
He's on vacation. I don't know about Matt.
Yeah.
Put Jay somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna wait till Jeanette came back, so she was here for the beginning of it.
good to go,
It's gonna storm. So I'm like,
Oh, here she comes. We don't have any? Oh. All right, it's 7:01. We'll call this regular city council meeting to order. Please join me in Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, can someone, did you grab the sign-up list? Is there anyone that signed up for public comment? Luke, could you check, please? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Haderlein,
present.
Schulz, Lavallee,
Here.
Carncross,
Present.
Lancaster,
Here.
Gorman,
Present.
Perkins, Luna. Here. Quorum is present, Mayor.
All right, thank you. No one signed up. Is there anyone who hasn't signed up to speak for public comment for anything that's not on the agenda? If you could come up to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Does this microphone have a? Okay, all right.
Hi, my name is Sandra. I just have a question. We don't know if we're in the correct room, but she over there, Juana, received a letter for to operate a cosmetology business, and I don't know if that's on the agenda.
You're in the right place.
Okay, that's all we wanted to make
Yep.
sure.
You'll be item number 7 when we get there, so.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Sure. Anyone else? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 4 for the consent agenda, item 4A through 4J. I'll accept the motion. Well, first, is there any item on the consent agenda that City Council wishes to remove from consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to accept the consent agenda 4A through 4J as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept consent agenda items 4A through J as presented.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions here? Clerk, call the roll.
Alderwoman Haderlein,
Yes.
Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Luna. Yes. All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 5 is dispensed with since nothing was removed from the consent agenda. Item number 6 is payment of the bills. Your action is requested to approve payment of the bills in the amount of $633,283.04.
Make a motion to accept payment of the bills in the amount of $633,283.04.
I'll second.
A motion by Haderlein, second by Gorman. Any comments or questions here? none, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Luna,
Yes.
Haderlein.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 7 is the home occupational permit application. The petitioner, Wanana Ramirez, is seeking a home occupational permit to operate a cosmetologist business at 206 East Thompson Street. Your action is requested to approve or deny the request. I believe the petitioner is present. If you have any questions for the petitioner.
I make a motion to approve.
Second?
Have a motion by Luna, second by Lancaster. Any further comments or questions here?
Just one comment. I did have one of the residents call me, Mrs. Deneen, and she was all for it. She's like, that's great, I don't see a problem. So I just wanted to share that.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Hear none, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Luna,
Yes.
Haderlein,
Yes.
Lavallee.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Your permit's been approved, and it'll be at city clerk's office probably sometime tomorrow. All right? All right, thank you. Item number 8 is the special event liquor license application. Carl Opper is requesting a special event liquor license for Saturday, August 24th, 2024, at the Boys League Shelter. The fees have been paid, and your action is requested to approve or deny the license pending submission of Dram Shop insurance.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Have a motion by Carncross, second by Lancaster. Any comments or questions here?
We should make him come in and do this every year. Just so we get to see him again.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to think of
You might
how
be
to
listening.
work that in.
Yeah. Make
Maybe
Carl-
maybe we should vote no and then,
And he has to appeal.
Just to make it All right, I have
And we can
a,
bring up snow.
shovel your sidewalks, please. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk call the roll, please.
Alderman Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
yes.
Luna,
Yes.
Haderlein,
Yes.
Lavallee.
Yes.
Carncross.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 9 is the extended Sunday hours liquor license. R&R Ale House LLC. It currently has a Class A liquor license and is requesting an extended Sunday hours liquor license. The fees have been paid. Your action is requested to approve or deny the request.
What's the current hours on Sunday, and then what would this extend it to, I guess, just so that we stated what the times are?
7.
I don't have that off the
Well,
top of my
I
head.
think, on Sunday, at least when I read the application, it looked like he wants to start serving alcohol at 11.
You would like to do a brunch, I believe.
Yes, yes. So the regular start time on Sunday must be after 11 a.m.
Okay, so he's looking to do it earlier, not later on
Right,
Sunday. Okay.
right, yep.
All right.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to figure out, but then I noticed he
Okay,
said wants to
just-
do brunch starting at 11.
Just so we understand what an extension really accounts to, so.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, so before 11.
Can't go all day if you don't start early.
Okay, yeah, so start before 11 a.m.
A motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Carncross, second by Lancaster. Any comments or questions here? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Gorman,
Yes.
Luna,
Yes.
Haderlein,
Yes?
Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 10, Community and Economic Development Committee recommendation for broadband internet. The agenda item was tabled from the last city council meeting. The committee's consensus was to forward the permitting process for Surf Internet to the city council to approve or deny. Surf Internet is requesting a blanket permit and permission for door-to-door solicitation during construction.
What does a blanket permit entail?
I'm sorry?
What does a blanket permit entail? Like, just to do
So they're seeking to be able to basically install this in the entire city versus having a permit for, I guess, each individual house is what it would come out to. Or block, right?
Is Surf, I've never heard of Surf Internet. Are they somewhere else in McHenry County right now, or are we like the first?
They are already in discussions with Marengo, and they're actually working their way east from the west, so they already have
Rockford.
service in
Yeah.
Rockford and Poplar Grove, I believe Belvedere, and they're working their way
Dixon,
this way.
Sterling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dixon, Rock Falls, Sterling area, and the mayor is correct. They are working their way east. They're currently finishing out Capron, and they're hoping to stop through Harvard and put in the internet before continuing further east.
They did Freeport too, I think. That was like their biggest city.
I believe that's
that they had
correct.
done.
I believe their biggest city actually is Sterling,
Is it
Dixon
Sterling now?
down that
Okay.
way, yes.
Fiber optic.
Well, I had the same issue of not knowing exactly what a blanket, permit is. But I was able to find some examples of them. And basically, it's a blanket permit. It says as long as you follow the permit system that we have, and I wasn't sure we had one. So I had to go to the city and see what we had. And it turns out I think it's chapter 6, we do have an extensive process, for approval of this kind of thing. And they will have to apply for the permit. So when you say you're asking for us to approve a blanket permit, there's still work to be done to create that permit, correct? And a contract of some kind. So what we're saying is go ahead with that, right? That process.
Correct.
Okay, and I think that's an important, we're not saying you can dig wherever you want to. We're saying, I see he's got a finger on the button.
I would just say whoever, to the extent council's in favor of it, whoever makes the motion, I would say subject to the provisions as outlined in, was it section 618? 618, cite to that section, so it's subject to them complying with that.
Yeah, there was another part though to it too. There was they also asked for,
Door-to-door solicitation,
well, that and no fees,
oh, waiver, yeah.
they wanted a waiver. And I think we need to discuss that. Every one of these I found on the internet had some kind of fee that was paid to the city. There's two kinds. One is where you pay on the installation, for example, I saw one where it was 50 cents a foot, one time, because there's an inconvenience to the city during that process. And the other was actually where it's attached to the end user bill, where it's like a 1% fee, and that revenue goes to the city. They're asking us to waive that, and I think that just needs to be worked out. And I don't think I know enough anyway to approve that tonight. Maybe that's something that should go through committee and discussed and so on. But as far as going forward is concerned, and starting the process for some kind of blanket permit, I think that's a wise thing to do.
I'm a little bit concerned with the door-to-door part. I'm assuming that whoever's going door-to-door is paid commission by how many people he gets to sign up.
Right.
And so I'm kind of uncomfortable with the high pressure, high, sales to our residents for this service that they may or may not want, but some people have a hard time saying no. Luckily, I'm not one of them. So
Older residents, yeah.
yeah, like what we have, now, nobody went door to door to solicit me. I decided which service I wanted and had them
So to help out with some of the questions that are going on, and Lori, you can help me out a little bit on this. They were looking at having like 6 or so people, and then with our fees per day, the number for a permit to go door to door, it was an astronomical number, and that's why they were asking for a waiver of that. And we can get verification on who it is. I don't believe, and I can verify that these people are going on a. I think they're just paid hourly. I don't think that they're getting anything out of this other than to do their job. But I can verify that if that'll help. And something that Alderman Gorman said, you can at least approve the permit process and then leave this other section out for now. So we can at least start the process and we can verify as far as what specifically they're looking at and how they intend to go door to door.
Something that I'll just add, and I think Charlie makes a good point, but something that we want to consider when we're talking about the fees to the city for hookup or whatever, is the difference here, or something to consider in that nature, is that the company is offering to do the install for the initial setup and everything at no charge to the customer. So that's something to keep in mind, whereas cable or whoever, they charge you an install fee or a hookup fee, even if all the hardware is already there, just turning it on, you got to pay a fee for that. We could or could not charge a fee to them at the hookup, but that would be adding something additional to it that they're already offering for free to the end user. So just something to bear in mind.
So the fees that they're asking to waive are just the fees related to going door to door?
They're requesting a fee waive, actually, if you read it, requesting the fees be waived or a custom contract be executed for the duration of construction so that while in construction, SURF can engage with residents to check in on them during construction and to begin to inform them of the options they will have with the fiber as it goes live. So our current code for solicitation requires, first there's a limit of how many we will issue, and it's only permitted for 30 days. Their build out is going to take a lot longer than 30 days. So they're seeking either you waive it or create a custom contract that allow them to work within the confines of the city's contract, but still be able to conduct business. Because this is
over
a large
period of time.
It's a large
sure.
build out that's probably going to take, my guess is certainly more than 6 months to build out throughout the entire city.
Would it then be better to make a custom contract instead of just waiving everything across the board?
That's at your discretion.
I mean, I'm comfortable with allowing the permit process to move forward because we've established all of that part of it in committee. As far as the waiving of the fees, I think it makes sense to just do a custom contract and we can go through that on committee if there's details. And Charlie, if you have questions on that, then we've got a solid agreement with them and we don't have to deal with straight up solicitation.
I'm confused now.
So I should say, your comment, I believe, was about a fee charged to the contractor for providing the service. What they are seeking a waiver of fee is a solicitation permit.
Okay, well, we could decide that, I mean, that's a very specific thing. I suppose we could decide that now even, but what I'm talking about though is a broader sense that, do we want to have a continuous stream of revenue from this or not? Most cities do get a revenue stream from, this kind of vendor. And then also we want to make sure that, what is in our section 6 and so on covers anything. Gary's involved, in this. I think he's going over that. And I think it'd be a good idea to put it in committee and, and just discuss it once before. And then the result of this is going to be some kind of agreement with them.
Right.
Beyond just giving them a permit. I mean, it's going to be signed by all the parties, and every city that I've seen do a blanket permit still has a contract.
Right.
And that has to be worked out. So what I'm saying is, what we're saying is that in principle, we want to do business with you and we want to allow you to do this in our city. But we want to work on the details of that, to make sure. Some examples that I saw were, if a street has to be closed while they tunnel under it, or a lane needs to be blocked and requires police to be there, should we, are we allowed to charge that company for that police time? There are easements, and if you get into an argument with another utility and you hit their line, who's responsible, and how does that work? Yeah. Do you have the right insurance? This is, that's what I want to look at in some detail. Because some of the ones out east, especially, where the streets are narrow, and so on, they really have tight regulations on digging up those sidewalks and tunneling underneath those things, and what they run into is even older than what we have. Some of that stuff's from the 1700s and so on.
Right.
So my point is that I just think we need to review that before we give a total blanket. The idea is that we will approve it and we will work with them on it. But I think that's our responsibility, is oversight, to make sure that, that we're okay. And I know that staff is going to work on it, and they're going to work out those kind of details. But I just think that this body should be informed of what that is.
They say right here that they're planning on attending the July 15th. They say right here they're planning on attending the July 15th Community Development Committee meeting. The company, in their letter.
Well, that's been moved, though.
Oh.
To the Infrastructure Committee.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yes, okay, yes.
Well, the Wi-Fi was, this isn't Wi-Fi.
Oh. I thought we aligned everything with.
Well, I would consider this infrastructure.
This is definitely
Well, I
infrastructure.
just want to make sure that, okay.
Okay, so
we
they want to
sending-
go to your meeting in July.
Yeah.
Are you saying that you want to send the whole thing back to committee, or you want to move forward with the permitting if it's got a contract?
Can I just interject one thing? What I think, Alderman, what you're suggesting is like a franchise fee, like we do for cable.
That's one thing, yeah. I mean,
and so I think that's within the authority of this body to be able to enact a franchise fee, but that would basically suggest that you want to create an exclusivity contract with this vendor. That's not what they were seeking. They had stated in previous meetings that, they don't care if there's other vendors that are here, but I don't believe you can create any other type of funding stream outside of, because we're not a home ruled city. Counselor, do you have any input on that?
Yeah, I would agree generally with what you're stating. I mean, something we could look into if there's an interest in that, to see if there's any way that we can get creative with it, but it's something we'd have to look into.
One of the things I was hoping to see, and I haven't seen it, is examples from SURF of contracts they have with other cities. I asked for that over 2 months ago, and I haven't seen anything. I can't find anything online either. I went through Sterling's and Dixon's and so on, and I can't find any copies of it. There is mention of some things in the city council minutes about, where they are in their construction process, but I haven't seen that. I just want to see this agreement that we have with them. I don't think that's asking too much, and and I know you guys are working on it, and I know but it seems to me that this body should have a look at that before we give it a final yes. And if that's not the case, fine, but.
So Alderman, I can reach out to them and try to get a copy of one of their agreements and try to flesh out a little more detail to go back to the infrastructure committee with, so at least we have something to work on.
Yeah, and I know you guys are working on the actual permit, and there's a form that's going to be filled out. But at some point, it's going to be signed by the mayor, and it's going to be signed by that company. And to me, that's a contract. And, you know, and I think we should be able to see that contract and say, yep, I'm good with that. And so as we go forward. The words like blanket scare me to death because it sounds like you can do whatever you want.
Well, I think what they are intending with a blanket is just, instead of having to go, like, say, what was mentioned before, either house by house or block by block, to be able to say, look, we're going to go down McKinley during the month of August. And so they just want to have one permit to be able to do that, instead of having to do it individually.
Their own statement says a blanket permit. We would like to work with a blanket permit for the project, either one entire approval for the full final design or an approval for each serving area as submitted for review. We work on one serving area at a time. So what I would interpret that to mean, if they were going to do a neighborhood, they would like a permit to do that neighborhood, or whatever that serving area is defined that they bring to city staff.
I don't have a problem with, you know, once we've seen, you know, their methods and what they're going to do, to give them a permit for the whole city. It doesn't matter to me whether it's done section by section, or maybe they want to do that because they can only handle one section at a time, and that's fine. But I'm more worried in a broader view of you know, what is it they're going to do? And, you know, especially after I saw these other blanket permits, you know, I saw all the possibilities of what can be in this thing. It seemed to me that we should at least look at it. I was surprised and pleasantly surprised that in that section 6, we have a tremendous amount of detail. And some of it is going to be worked on by Gary to make sure that it's still accurate. Some of it's older. This is a fast-moving industry, and things change quickly. But it has to do with right-of-ways and complaints of customers, and, you know, and all that sort of thing, and how they're handled, and you know, what they're going to be responsible for, what they're not going to be responsible for. So
what's your pleasure?
Well, I would like to make a motion that, what can we do? Can we break this up? I mean,
Whatever
Yeah.
you care to do, Alderman.
well,
It's
first
your
of all,
full discretion. Yes.
to get one of them out of the way, I'd like to make a motion that we, you know, accept their request for a waiver on the solicitation fees, as long as it takes them to finish the project.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Gorman, second by Lancaster. Any comments or questions on this?
Guess so we would, okay, just for, I guess so I understand from legal's perspective, we break this up, we would have to make a motion and vote on the other portion of this sentence as a separate vote, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderwoman Luna,
No.
Haderlein,
Yes.
Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman.
Yes.
We have approval 5-1 to waive the solicitation fees.
Okay, how about the next step?
And then I think for the next step, we want to say that we do want to go ahead with a blanket permit for surf, with the understanding that it is not it can be revoked and is non-binding until we have a signed contract.
Just so that I'm clear, you're approving the request for a blanket permit for the project subject to a contract between the City of Harvard and Surf Internet being entered into?
Yeah.
Would that contract, okay. Because according to ordinance, the mayor has the ability to enter into the contract with or without our permission. Do we have the ability to have that contract reviewed by us and approved before the mayor can assign it, or is that prevented because of that?
If that's the pleasure of council, is to be able to review it and offer input, it would probably be more prudent to either send it to committee to review the contract or to not take any action on this and direct staff to have a contract prepared that this body can ultimately review at a future meeting. I just think it gets a little hairy if you're approving it subject to a contract. Like, who's going to review that? Is it just going to be the mayor and staff? Is it going to be the council? I think if the council wants input, my suggestion would be direct staff to enter into negotiations, bring that contract back to this body, and then we can discuss it more at a future meeting, whether in committee or whether at council.
Yeah, and the contract can then include the blanket permit and whatever else, the door-to-door solicitation, that stuff, yeah.
Well, the door-to-door solicitation, we already approved.
No,
So
we
would-
didn't.
I thought
We waived the fees.
Oh, okay, well, we waived
But we
the
didn't,
fees.
we didn't address the issue of, we waived the solicitation fees, but anyway, the contract, I think, I agree with Charlie, that having the contract, and that can then address issues like the blanket permit, and other issues related to having them working in the city, and what our long-term relationship is going to be.
Yeah,
And I'd like to see that go to the infrastructure committee.
yeah, I don't think we need to work on it, except for to listen to the plans and then approve them. That's what I'm after, is to just say, and then gain any input we might have, into it along the way. But I think that can be accomplished at the next infrastructure, which we're going to have. We're going to have one in July.
Well, notwithstanding that you have an open motion on the floor without a second, it sounds like to me,
You
my
change it.
recommendation would be to withdraw your motion and then send this to committee and then direct staff to start negotiating a contract.
I withdraw my motion. And I would like to make a new motion that we send it to committee, to the infrastructure committee in July.
I second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to send this to the infrastructure committee for review in July. Any other comments or questions?
What are we sending to the infrastructure committee to review?
Well, presumably, to review the process and what you want to approve. So, you could take a step further again to direct staffing to start negotiating a contract, and that could be something that you could review. But ideally, I think, listening to Alderman Gorman, he wants to understand the whole process. So I would expect that the company would come and provide that process to the committee so that answer all those questions.
Well, and their letter is very specific, about planning to attend, meeting, to present more details about the network plans for Harvard and answer more of your questions, then attend the July council meeting for an official approval to begin the project. So I think directing the staff to work on the contract and what the terms of the contract are, and to bring that information to the committee for committee discussion and understanding before going to council in July.
Yeah, if that's the easiest way to do it, just send it to committee, but I don't want to send the message that we're trying to fight this, because that's not the case. We're not, that's why I was hoping we could say something about approving, but I'm not sure how that could ever be worded. That we approve of them coming to Harvard and doing this, but we just want more detail and have some idea that what we're approving.
Alderman, I think your support of this project is clear. I think you need to amend your motion to direct staff to begin negotiating based on Chapter 6.18, and then bring it to the Infrastructure Committee in July.
Yeah.
And then we
Do I
can go
need to
through the
withdraw
entire
again?
process.
You could just amend it.
So amended.
Okay, I'd like to amend my motion to have staff put together some of the detail for this from section 8.
6.18.
6.18.
6.18 from the city code, and present that at the same meeting that they will be at.
And I'll amend my second.
All right, we have a motion and a second directing staff to begin the process of negotiating a contract in accordance with the permitting process of 6.18 and present that to the infrastructure committee at the next committee. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderwoman Luna.
Yes.
Haderlein.
Yes.
Lavallee.
Yes.
Carncross.
Yes.
Lancaster.
Yes.
Gorman.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. I just make a follow-up comment that I think, council is very interested in bringing this infrastructure to the city, but they want to make sure we're doing it properly. So, thank you. Item number 11 is Parks and Recreation Board recommendation for adult lap swim. Your action is requested to approve the Parks and Recreation Board recommendation to add a new adult lap swim season pass for $30 and a daily pass for $5.
I make a motion to approve the recommendation of adding a new adult lap swim season pass for 30 and daily pass for 5.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Lancaster, second by Carncross. Any other comments on this issue?
Is this going to take effect this year yet?
I think immediately. Is that correct, Stacy? Assuming you approve it, so.
So are we going to prorate the $30 for the rest of the year? Or?
No, it would be it would be the $30 fee. Keep in mind that they're only allowed to swim between 12 and 1. So they're only impacting the pool 1 hour a day at most. And I think the $30 is more than fair. And we're only 2 weeks, a little over 2.5 weeks into the pool season. Plus, we're hoping to expand the pool season through August.
Well, and it's that's 6 visits equivalent. The $30 is equivalent to 6 visits at the daily rate, so it seems like a good deal.
Any other comments? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderwoman Haderlein.
Yes.
Lavallee.
Yes.
Carncross.
Yes.
Lancaster.
Yes.
Gorman.
Yes.
Luna.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Okay, item number 12 is Committee of the Whole recommendation for non-elected committee members. Your action is requested to discuss non-elected members of city committees. I believe we have a member from the audience who wanted to speak on this issue.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Scott Logan, 700 East Brown Street. I'm going to preface what I have to say by saying my wife would like me to shut up and sit down. She'd like to see one less board meeting, committee meeting for me to be on. During last week's Committee of the Whole meeting, Ms. Haderlein mentioned that having non-elected members of a committee with legislative responsibilities is problematic. Since I don't have my old copy of the book she referred to handy, I don't understand why there is a problem. I am one of currently 2 non-elected members of the Parks and Rec Board, and I'd like to point out a few reasons why these non-elected positions should remain. Including a non-elected person on a committee helps to address the perceived lack of transparency for the city council, as all decisions are not made solely by the good old boys and girls. Unlike the older person sitting on the board, we're not paid for our time. Non-elected members do not have to be concerned about elections and couching their decisions based on public perception. Non-elected members would be more likely to care about the issues of the board as they volunteered for that board and were not assigned by the mayor. And a couple of examples. Planning and Zoning Commission is fully appointed and has arguably far more authority than any council committee. Harvard Fire Protection District trustees are all appointed. And last, the final approval of any committee action is still vested in this city council. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Scott. There was no recommendations, I think, to the council officially on what to do with this action item. It was just simply asked for you to discuss it, so.
I brought it up because we have one committee, one standing committee, that is not like the other committees in that it has appointed members on it, and the code still reads that it can have 5 appointed members. I read the code since the committee of the whole meeting, and it still indicates that there could be up to 5 appointed members. We may have changed some of the code because it does talk about 7 total members, but it still refers to up to 5
I think
appointed.
that would be an error because the council reduced the number from 9 to 7.
Right.
So effectively
right.
reducing from 5 at large
to 3, exactly. But it's so the code is incorrect. But there's a whole section on the park committee, park board, which is not. It's none of the other committees are described in the length that the park board is described. And my question, I guess, is, after reading through that and thinking about it, is having just 2 non-elected representatives to somehow represent all of the diversity of organizations and recreational groups in the city. I mean, it's just having 2 people there who are supposed to be reappointed every year, right? And as long as I've been aware, it's been the same 2. But is it really helping to have the same 2 voices, or would it make more sense to have some advisory group that is comprised of all of the interests that we're meeting with and talking with on some periodic basis to make sure that we're understanding all of those issues that are coming that might be relevant. We're able to make decisions about roads, about community development, economic development, without having non-elected members. This is why we have staff, right, is to provide that professional advice. Why, for parks, do we somehow need to supplement the knowledge and experience of staff and the elected officials with non-elected individuals? And I would point out that it is specifically called out. I meant to bring the book with me, but it's specifically called out in the book that we're all provided with as newly elected officials, that having non-elected individuals on a committee put in a position of being able to exercise having voting authority, frankly, interviewing staff. I mean, those are that to me is I'm uncomfortable with that. That's me, so.
Well, it's an ordinance, so it's up to
Right.
the council to decide if they wanted to change that. I've made my recommendations in the past, so.
Yeah.
It's your pleasure. What do you want? If any changes at all?
I, for one, once again, I've been with the parks now for 3 years. I want to say 4 years. Time flies. And I know, initially when it was a bigger body, when there was more appointees, it was, I thought that was a problem because the council members could almost be outvoted, right, by the non-council members or the at-large. I, for one, like the extra input. I'm not, I think because the council has 4 members, the 2 at-large members, so to speak, can always be outvoted
Right.
on issues that the council thinks should be just for the council to decide, or the committee to decide. So I'm okay with how it is, I guess, where I'm going.
I do want to address your one point about annual appointments. You're right, it is an annual appointment. There is currently a vacant seat on the Parks Board and has been for a long time because it's difficult to get people to volunteer to serve on that
Right.
board. And in the past, we've had board members who have served on the board who came in with ulterior motives and didn't last very long on the board when they recognized that they were unable to accomplish the things they joined the board to accomplish because they only have one vote.
Right.
So I just wanted to give that background and color in terms of answering your question concerning that issue.
Well, I just,
It would
Yeah.
be easier to not fill those every year or try and find people to fill those seats if they weren't at large.
Right.
But I, at the same time, recognize that the previous mayor, Nolan, who incorporated at-large seats onto this board, wanted the opportunity to give more transparency and more input to that board from the community at large than was being given by just the direct alderman. And so he instituted at a 7-panel member board.
9,
At
right?
7,
Oh,
it
it was
was
7.
increased to 9.
Oh, okay.
Because the council agreed to increase it to 9. And then I made a recommendation to reduce it back to 7, which council did approve. Actually, my recommendation was to eliminate at-large seats, but council was uncomfortable with that and decided to reduce it to 7. That's where we are today.
Gotcha.
So would the discussion then be whether or not we want to keep it the same, reduce the number of seats, or to get rid of them altogether?
It's,
Whatever your pleasure
this
is.
is a discussion. I mean, it's.
Right now, we only have 1 that attends, really, frequently. But we
Well,
have
2, yeah. I mean, Scott and
Yeah,
Pep.
Scott
Yeah.
and Pep Sacedo.
Yeah.
And Pep has missed a couple of meetings, but he's pretty active.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right, Scott. I forgot
Yeah.
about Scott.
We legally allowed to, I guess, make a decision on this or a motion if it's not expressly listed in the agenda, since it's just listed as discussion.
Yeah, I think conservative approach would be to wait and actually put what the actual action would be on the next agenda. Technically could, because it's on the agenda, but it is listed as a discussion, not an action item.
That's what my thinking is we're not kind of, we're kind of brainstorming here, so. I would say that this is, well, it's kind of interesting how, do we send it back to do we send it to committee for discussion, because it's kind of,
What committee?
Well, that's the question is do you send committee discussion about another committee to another committee?
Right.
I think it's more appropriate to be at the
Yeah,
city council
council.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a council issue.
I mean, I don't feel 100% comfortable making a solid decision one way or the other just based on our conversation right now. I think it's something that we need to plan for and get some, we're also missing 2 members, and both of them may have strong views on this either way. So,
I would definitely like to hear Jay's opinion.
Yeah, me too.
and I think it might be prudent of us to potentially allow discussion of something like this to go, I mean, again, I know which way they're going to probably go, but I think it might be prudent to allow discussion of this to go to the next Parks Board meeting so that we can at least have minutes on what their discussion is and what their points are before we make a decision on what they are, I guess. Because I wouldn't be happy if I was on a committee that I'm chairing and the city council decided to make a bunch of changes without
Well,
any
John
input, so-
chairs the committee.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
speak for you,
She
but
doesn't care about running me over.
And
But
then
I
I'm
like-
going to back up.
There's a coup coming.
I think it would be wise of us to get as much input as we can from the
Yeah.
from the
No,
full
there's no rush.
committee, all the members, including those that are appointed, so that we can make a fully well-rounded decision.
And as I mentioned at the committee of the whole, I had recently read through the whole newly elected officials document, and it specifically said that it's problematic to have appointed members of a committee that's making legislative decisions. So, TJ, do you have any insight into that question?
I didn't specifically author that section, so I can't give you the author's perspective on that. I just think generally, the thought process is having elected officials making legislative decisions because those elected officials essentially have a referendum on their decisions every election, whereas a non-elected official, they're just appointed, so there's no, if people are upset with it, it's not like they can be voted out at the next election, whereas you all, if somebody's upset with the decisions or the votes that you're making, they can bring up an effort to have you voted out. So that would be the general reason why.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments or questions on this issue or discussion? All right, well, John, I recommend on the agenda for the Parks, next Parks Board that you add this as an agenda item for discussion.
And if I might suggest that if the goal is to have input from the users of the Parks and Recreation, that we think of how we can engage more of those users in informing us and advising us on what we're
Different way
doing.
than we're doing now.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
All right, any other discussion on this? No? All right, we'll move on to item number 13, which is Committee of the Whole Recommendation, Realignment and Strategic Vision Task Assignments. Your action is requested to approve the committee's recommendation as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Carncross, second by Lancaster. Any other comments or questions here?
I just have one, and one of the things that we talked about, and then it also shows up in the list of strategic plan items, is with community relations and community outreach. I think that's one of those topics that isn't just one committee. So each area has a certain amount of outreach and community relations, and for instance, anything overarching like a survey that's going to cover a whole bunch of topics, we had talked about that would be administration, and in fact, it's listed that surveys listed under administration. So just wanted to clarify that our concept was that this is trying to align with the different departments. Community relations isn't a community development issue. It's every department has some.
Any issues with other council members for that added point?
Where does that go?
She just suggested to add.
Admin, but then it's also, there's parts of it that are going to be for each committee. But I think it's overarching. It crosses departments.
So you're saying take it out of community development and put it in admin?
I would. That's what we talked about
So
last
now
week.
admin is in charge of everybody else's outreach?
No,
If I can help out.
Yeah.
Maybe to add it to each of the
Yeah.
others with the stipulation like not directed related to duties of other committees.
There you go.
So everybody has it listed
Yeah.
under their scope instead of one
Right.
committee having this belief of all of it.
yeah, that makes sense, Lou. Thank you.
Yeah, it seems to me that, outreach, I mean, I get it, that, everybody's responsible for that, but anything that's overarching seems to me that would be committee of the whole stuff. In other words, if we wanted to do a broad survey that covers all kinds of, topics and that reach into each one of these areas, that to turn that survey into something that's that makes sense and doesn't trip over itself, because the same question is coming from two different directions, that the committee of the whole would be the place to work those difficulties out and then have a unified, approach to that survey. But anything specific that they want to find out, a committee wants to find out, that has to do with their planning and so on, needs to come from that committee.
Yeah.
And, if they're interested in what the public, and I'm using surveys as an example, but it's probably broader than that, but that you would want to develop your survey within your area that you cover, like infrastructure or parks and recreation, and you would want to have control over that specific park or infrastructure question to the public. You would want to do that. So, but that, if it has to be put in each one of these, that makes sense. I mean, that would be a way to make sure that happens. And basically, it's an overall assignment, isn't it? That, you're all responsible for outreach,
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I think is important, actually.
Yeah.
Because that is a really key
Okay.
piece of what our role is, right?
So Alderman, were you in agreement to
Yeah.
have it under each of the committees? Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
You wanted to clarify that's what you were suggesting. Okay. Any other comments or questions with that change to include community outreach under each of the committees within the scope of their committees?
We have to amend the motion. Okay. I motioned to approve.
You did Carncross
Okay.
and Lancaster.
All right, then I amend my motion to include the previously discussed changes.
And I'll amend my second.
Oh, yes. So the clerk just pointed out, because the standing committees, there is an ordinance that, under ordinance 2.07, which each of you were given tonight, would require, essentially the motion was required to change this ordinance to reflect these changes. So you're going to have to re-amend your motion to update ordinance 2.07 standing committees to reflect these changes.
I will amend my motion to reflect the changes in ordinance 2.07 as discussed.
And I'll amend my second to approve the proposed items.
Okay.
Is that
so,
close enough?
let me reiterate to make sure everybody
Fill in the
understands
gaps
what has
later.
been motioned. So
Fix it.
the motion on the table that has been seconded is to make amendment to ordinance 2.07 to the standing committees in accordance with the oversight recommended by the committee of the whole, with the additional changes tonight concerning community outreach under each committee.
If I can,
Executed, Mayor.
it's actually section 2.07, not ordinance 2.07.
Sorry, correct, section 2.07. Thank you. All right, everybody understand what you're voting on? Is there any other comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Lavallee.
Yes?
Cross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Luna,
Yes.
Haderlein.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries. Ordinance 2024-117.
Thank you. Item number 14, Committee of the Whole recommendation, proposed ordinance amending section 2.05 meetings. Your action is requested to approve the committee's recommendation to approve the proposed ordinance amending section 2.05.f.3 relating to public comment at meetings.
Make a motion. Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the committee's recommendation to amend section 2.05.f.3 relating to public comment at meetings.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Haderlein, second by Carncross. Any other comments or questions?
Just wanted a second because it's easier to amend a second.
Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Luna,
Yes.
Haderlein,
Yes.
Lavallee.
Yep.
All ayes, motion carries. Ordinance 2024-118.
All right, thank you. Moving on to department head reports. We'll start on this end. I'm going to start with the chief tonight, please.
It's been a good month for June for us, knock on wood. Officer Kurt Stahl is going to be released on July 1st. He'll return full-time to patrol on July 3rd. Officer Tom Brooks obviously returned from his military responsibilities, was shadowed for a few weeks, and he is currently on his own on his shift overnight. Officer Dan Monreal, a new recruit, our lateral transfer from CPD, is doing very well, and he is actually going to be released on July 1st and go to the midnight shift on July 3rd, where he will be replacing Officer Todd Ochis, who will be pulled out and put into 2 investigations full-time. Other than that, nothing else is pressing, and report is submitted.
Deputy Chief, does that take some load off of your plate?
Yes, it does. Very much so. That's a celebration for me. And knock on wood, it hasn't been too bad. So we've been okay for the last month or so. I have nothing else to report.
All right, thank you. Stacy, first report.
I don't really need this right in my face. I gave everybody a copy. I was told to give everyone a copy, so you have it underneath your paper there. The biggest, I think most exciting thing is the recreation programming. We've got a couple free events that I just put out today, just to gather interest and make sure people know that we're doing things. And then we have 5 different fee-based events and classes coming up. So we have a session of a kids fitness camp at Extreme Fitness going right now. And then we have another session coming up in July. So we have registration open for that right now. And then I set up 2 adult painting workshops and 2 kids painting workshops for the summer and fall. And then we're starting some dance classes as well this summer, and then plans to continue that in the fall as well. The pool is going pretty well. We just got that swim time approved, so that's great. The adjusted price points for the concession stand has been really successful, so the patrons are excited that it's a more, I guess, appropriate price, and they're happy about the selection of things we have there, so that's been helping move products pretty quick. Great. I will be doing a food manager course in July, and then I will also be doing a pool operator certification course. I think it's in the fall, maybe October, and we're hoping our pool manager will also be there with me, so we get all the education that we can get about the mechanics and the chemicals and all of that in the pool. Let's see, the community garden grant, we did meet with an Eagle Scout candidate to have that as his final project. We're waiting to hear back from him. The Boy Scout Council needed to approve that project. So we're kind of on standstill for that right now. Tree trimming is done at Park Point. And there's nothing to report. The soccer tournament that was going to be in July is being postponed until the fall. And then it is also being revised as an adult-based event instead of a family event, so it's going to be toned down a little bit as far as what's offered. The playground equipment at Mary's Park is installed except for the swings. So I'm meeting with somebody from Power Tree Removal tomorrow to get a quote for the mulch to go underneath the swings so that we have a protective layer down there, and then we can put the swings back up or put them up in the first place. And then the last thing that we're working on right now is moving the Gaga Ball pit. That's at Lions Park. It's in a really wet area, so no one can really use it, and we can't trim it and mow it so that people can use it. So we're going to move it to higher land, and then hopefully it will be actually used. So
Will it still be in Lions Park?
yes, yeah. We were talking about it this morning, and there's a spot like it looks like right in front of the library. Maybe Rob can talk about that, but yes, so it'll still be right there because they'll have to check out the actual ball that they use for that at the library, so then that way they can kind of keep an eye on it too.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Oh, yes, Chief.
I just want to give a congratulations to Carmen Sacco because he was selected to attend the FBI National Academy. He's going through the process to get that ball rolling. Pending everything goes okay, which I foresee no issues at all, he will be attending the September through December session. He is the 5th member of the Harvard Police Department to have attended. That's astronomical for a department our size, because they only take so many people from the entire state. So I just wanted to congratulate him and let you guys know of that selection.
That's no small issue. That's a very prestigious school to go to for our department. Congratulations, yes, for sure.
Thank you. It's if I can pass the mile run on Thursday, we'll see.
I know you can do it. Okay, Rob, please.
Construction season's here, so we've just been taking care of the storm sewers and sewers in general. We've had quite the wet spring still, and the wet spring has continued into a wet summer. There's been flooding here and there. We've been cleaning and maintaining the system as needed. With a lot of the storms coming through, we did a lot of tree takedown and tree hazard removal. That will continue a little bit. We're just taking some bigger logs and things right now. Today I got notice from C-Bell that our lead service line inventory GIS map is live with sort of the data we've collected so far. Upcoming will be QR codes and surveys, and as well as a PR campaign to get people to recognize what they have for service lines so we can start collecting this data. After that, we'll also be preparing some stuff for the infrastructure committee in reference to funding for the replacement program once we have the lines identified, as well as right now for the infrastructure committee, sidewalk selection. Gary and I were talking about some areas, obviously with the limited funding we have, the flatter the better, the less crossings the better, the less engineering costs the better. So that's something that I'd like to bring to the infrastructure committee for the next meeting, as well as just giving an update on IDOT. IDOT's coming through, everything's going swimmingly for them, at least of what I've heard, other than a couple resident complaints. I think he was hoping that he'd be done by the end of July. As far as our projects in the city, they are going to be doing the bridge over Rush Creek as well here on a different project, so there's all sorts of investment in the city. And then our project, Gary and I are talking about skip patching locations and getting everything ready to let for fall construction for our main road program. So.
All right, thank you. And then brush pickup's coming up here in 2 weeks, right?
Brush pickup is the second Monday of July and April and October. You know, so everybody that's been asking me about brush pickup, get your sticks out.
Just on behalf of Jim Grant, who couldn't be here tonight, report is submitted.
All right, thank you. Ann?
Report is submitted.
Donavan?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Dunkin' Donuts, they're about 5 weeks out from being completed finally. I was hoping Alderman Schulz would be here to hear that tonight. Hopefully he's watching. Rob's Car Wash at Admiral and 14, they submitted for their permits. It's a $1.8 million project. That should go pretty quickly. They are taking advantage of the enterprise zone, and I think that's what we're waiting on now is for that final approval. Starbucks is close to being ready to resubmit their second round of plans. The shell of the building was approved. I think it was Friday they submitted for their interior plans. That'll be a 10-day review. Engineering is, like I said, on the second review, so that's moving along. 69 North Air Street, the former barbecue place, there's a new Mexican restaurant going in there, Barajas Mexican Bar and Food, so we're excited to have another restaurant in the downtown. It'll be a full-service restaurant and bar, wait staff, and all that good stuff. Her husband is also looking to open up a window tinting business in town. I reached out to them on Harvard 411 where they made a post about opening up a shop in town. We have a new executive director for the McHenry County Economic Development Corporation, Mark Picos, who I've had a good working relationship with over the years. His mom is the executive director of Leadership Greater McHenry County, which I graduated in 2013. Administrator Leone recently graduated, and Ann was recently accepted into the program, so she'll be starting here soon in that program. So congratulations to Ann. And we're looking forward to working with Mark for all things Harvard. We've had, well, last year we had 17 residential unit permits. This year we're already at 24, so it's quite busy in our department. Ann, in the month of May, if you notice in the report, had 129 notices of violations go out, which is a lot. So I'm guessing a lot of those were long grass. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to committee reports, and we'll start on this end. Lori?
I'd like to offer my congratulations to you as well. That's all I want.
All right, thank you.
We need to set up a transportation meeting, but I noticed that.
Infrastructure.
Oh, infrastructure. Geez, I blew it already. Infrastructure committee meeting, but I noticed that half the committee isn't here.
Important ones are, Charlie.
So Lou, can we shoot for the 17th? Is that?
Oh, what day is that?
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. I can let Surf know as well.
Yeah, because that's what I want to make sure, because this is tentative, I think, you know, depending on Jay's schedule and
6:30?
Yeah, 6:30. Yeah. And so anyway, and we have a tentative agenda already, but I think we'll probably be adding to it. We're covering things like the sidewalk program, RFQ for a well generator, lead line replacement plan and funding, and of course the strategic vision that we discuss and aligning that up and putting a plan together for the strategic vision. And that's it.
All right. Rosa?
Yes, congratulations, Eric. That's awesome. Carmen, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Eric when he was at the FBI thing. But anyway, thank you. I want to thank the council. I want to thank the committee. The signage went awesome. We were very, very happy. And most of my family was there. We are 11 kids, and then all the grandkids and great-grandkids were there. Very excited, the 50-year mark in June 1st. So thank you for your efforts, Lou and Mr. Rob. Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you for your speech. It was awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, Lisa.
So just a couple things. One, we need a admin committee date in July, and it would normally be the 10th, but the tree board is meeting on the 10th because they didn't want to meet on the 3rd for some reason. I don't know why. And I suggested just skipping the month of July, and they're like, no, let's just move it a week. Okay. So tree board's meeting on the 10th, and so we need a different date for the admin committee. Tuesday the 9th would work for me. It's okay. Charlie? Okay, 6:30. And then I just wanted to give a quick update on the tree board. So we've set a date for October 5th to do an Oaktober tree planting at Mary's Park, and we're shooting to plant 12 trees there, and get volunteers, have a food truck, make an event out of it. And yeah, so I'm kind of excited, and we're all working on different either donations of trees or donations to purchase trees, and yeah, so that should be good, and that meets one of the Arbor Day things that we need to do each year, is to have a public tree planting and celebration. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, and Carmen, congratulations. Thank you.
You want to share the Arboretum news?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. So I just found out today, as part of my job at the Land Conservancy, last October, I submitted a partnership letter for a grant that the Morton Arboretum was submitting. It's a federal grant through the Forest Service for tree planting and outreach to owners of oak woodlands in economically disadvantaged communities in the Chicago region. And so in McHenry County, the only community that qualifies is Harvard. And so I submitted a proposal, and they just found out today that this was accepted. So part of this will include funds to over the next 3 years to plant 200 trees in the Harvard area, but most of those will be in Harvard, and the grant's goal is for them to be planted in economically disadvantaged areas. So I'm kind of excited about that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
That was great news.
Yeah.
John, anything tonight, sir?
No, congratulations, Carmen. Good luck on that mile. No chin-ups or just the mile? Oh, okay. Push-ups used to always kill me when I was in the military, but I was okay with them. But, and Ann, good luck to you. No mile? Good. Also, I'm really, I didn't know the extent of the curb work and sidewalks and stuff that we were getting done on 14. That's really nice. It took us 5 years of our sidewalk program to get all that done. So
At least 5. Yes.
So yeah, no, that's pretty good. As for us now,
Well,
we just got to connect them.
I was going to say, wouldn't it be nice to actually be able to connect the
Well, the expensive
intersections?
parts are the ADAs and all that stuff, and that'll be done. So
Yes, I think it was rather fortuitous, although I know there are a few residents have been upset that we haven't started anything on Division, but it seems, it was a wise choice to wait for the the state to do their part, so we didn't have to replicate it, so.
That's all I got.
All right. Dan, anything tonight, sir?
Need to schedule the community development meeting. I don't have Jay here, but Lori and Rosa are here, so I'm looking at, what about July 11th? Does that work for you?
Yep.
Okay. No? 9th? Or no, we have the other meeting on the 9th, yeah, okay, so we got the 17th, 9th, 16th?
Still good.
16th, okay. We'll do the 16th at 6:30. And
Where
we've
does the
got-
Harvard Parks Foundation meet?
We meet at 5,
Also,
so
you'll
we
be
should be
done?
done by then, because
Okay.
we just changed our meeting time up a half hour.
We can always move to another room too. I mean,
We
there's
should
not
be
that
done
many
by
of us, so
6:30.
yeah, not too worried about it. And then I'm fine with the tentative agenda that you've got so far, unless something needs to be added in the interim. Just feel free to throw it on there, and we can handle it then. I'm not that worried about it. Other than that, welcome Stacy, since this is your first meeting, and this is fantastic. I like all the details, and I have seen quite a few posts for some of these programs on social media, so I'm a big fan of the social media from the staff. Rob's done a great job of putting that out for Public Works, so I'd love seeing more of that. And Carmen, congratulations. Can't wait to see when you get back from that, and you can tell us about all the gory details.
Thank you. Hopefully not too many.
That's it.
All right, thank you. Treasurer's report.
Nothing further tonight, Mayor.
Attorney's report.
Nothing further tonight, Mayor.
Administrator's report.
So I will keep this very brief. As you notice, Jeanette is up there in my seat today. We're trying to get her used to being up there so that one day when Lori decides to retire, Jeanette can be ready to fill in. And that'll be for board meetings as well, or some board meetings. Other than that, I just wanted to point out, report as submitted. The inclusion is that when we have department head meetings, I always end it with the same way, and I just would like to say this in front of you all as well, that I'm very proud to be working with this group of department heads. They're very talented, and they're serving the city well.
All right, thank you. Clerk's report.
I have upcoming meeting dates. July 2nd, Planning and Zoning meeting is canceled due to a lack of agenda items. July 9th, we have the Admin Committee meeting at 6:30 p.m. The Tree Board meets on July 10th at 6 o'clock. Park Board meets on July 15th at 6 o'clock. Community Development meets the 16th at 6:30. Infrastructure Committee meets on the 17th at 6:30. And council, the next council meeting is July 23rd at 7.
All right.
That's all I have today.
Thank you. For the mayor's report, I certainly want to congratulate staff. We're kind of full complement now of department heads, so that is good news with Stacy coming on board. Definitely want to congratulate Administrator Leone for completing Greater McHenry County Leadership Course. I think that really helped create a good network within the county, and it has been my desire for a very long time to have graduates from this course on city staff. So I do appreciate that is coming about. Also, congratulations to Carmen. That is a pretty noteworthy thing to do, and good luck on a run. Run was always a killer for me, so push-ups was not my problem. It was always the run. And then I did want to report that we had the mayor's listening tour, which was held last week with cooperation from United Medical Glove to allow us to use their space. We had about 35 businesses that signed up and came out to that. And we spent a good bit of the morning chatting about available resources to those businesses, as well as hearing a little bit of feedback from them. And then finished off with lunch. I'm excited that we were able to get that much engagement. We plan to do another one in August for those businesses that weren't able to attend this last one. And we're going to move the time and the day of the week so we can try and accommodate businesses that couldn't do a Monday morning. And then I expect we'll probably do another one probably in October just to try and get as many businesses to participate as possible. We did discuss with them some of the initiatives that we're working on as a city. One of them was the idea of having a business registration. And I think the members that came or the business community that did come to that saw value in us being able to have ability to communicate with them, because right now we really don't have that capability because we don't know all the key contacts for these businesses, let alone all the businesses that are here. And in fact, trying to invite these people to this event was rather, because we don't have that mechanism, it has really required myself and with Donovan's help, going kind of business to business and talking to business owners to invite them out. And did spark some additional conversation with those businesses while we chatted, inviting them over. Not all could attend, but I think they all recognize that the city is trying to be more proactive for our business community and engaging and trying to create a closer network within the city of Harvard. So thank you, Donavan, for your help in that. There is a lot of economic activity that is going on beyond what Donavan told you. A lot of it is still kind of in its, I call the fluid phase, because you don't know whether or not it will actually come to fruition, but there is a lot of things that are being worked on and discussed both in our industrial park as well as retail and commercial businesses that are interested in Harvard. Quite frankly, in my time within the city, I have never seen so much interest in our community from a business perspective, and that's very encouraging. And what's really encouraging is we have a staff now that is full complement to be able to kind of engage those businesses and help those businesses be successful and be part of Harvard. So I'm looking forward to what the future holds there. And with that, I would accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night.
We beat the last one by 2.5 hours.
You're right.
I'm still wading through that one.